evening, everybody, and welcome into another episode of the Barking Brown Show. I'm Jacob, Mr. Casey Kinnaman, and Nick Carnes down below. We're brought to you as always by our friends over at SeatGeek. Maybe you still want to go see a Browns game. You probably still want to go see a game, so go get your tickets over from our friends over at SeatGeek. Use our promo code BarkingBrowns, get $20 off your first purchase. That way it doesn't hurt the wallet as well as the soul. At least not quite as much. If you're on Twitter, if you're on Twitch, we appreciate you on Facebook as well. Please go over to the YouTube, youtube.com/@thebarkingbrowns, and subscribe, hit that thumbs up, and give us hit that bell as well. Gentlemen, how are we?
Sometimes I get reminded how happy I am that we don't do this on Monday, because it might have been a darker show for me. I've been able to process and already start moving on to next week and kind of forecasting what's going on. So I'm here. It happened and I'm here. So let's talk about it.
I'm still angry, and I don't know that it could have gone worse, but we're here. I'm glad to see your two awesome faces and so many people are already joining us here. So let's figure this out, man, because admittedly, my expectations were up here. I get that, right? But, like, I could have settled for a result down here. But, like, I can't even see where the bar ended up being. It's down there somewhere, but I don't know where.
Yeah. What? No, I don't need those. I already ate 3 of them. I don't need 5 cookies.
Hey, you're being well fed. That's great.
It's like I'm trying to. All right, yeah. So
losing Monday cookies.
Yeah, it's consolation prize for going through what we went through on Sunday. Where do we start? We start with the conversation. We start with the quarterback. We have to start with the quarterback. There was enough chat. See, this was what was really weird for me during training camp and early in training camp, during OTAs, things of that nature. The word was he was looking good, right? He was looking good. He was looking healthy. And it's like, oh, well, maybe we're on track. And then we start getting to the point where training camp comes around, you get those joint practices, and all of a sudden it wasn't going as well as they had initially thought it was going. I still don't think from everything we heard that we thought it would be this bad. I know, Casey, I know you guys talked to Zach Jackson during the during training camp before the season started. And even then, and he was kind of low on things, even then, I don't think anybody foresaw this. Because personally, I don't think he did anything right as a whole. He had some plays. He made some plays. He picked up a first down with his legs, things of that nature. He made some plays. Everybody can make some plays, but there was no consistency from him in any way, shape, or form on Sunday. My concern is that a lot of the things that I saw that went wrong can be fixed outside of the quarterback. Like, you want to talk about the offensive line struggles. You want to talk about dropped passes. You want to talk about some of the struggles on the defense, things like that. I think all of those things, like with the offensive line, it's not healthy. You don't want James Hudson out there. James Hudson alone had 6 of the 18 pressures that were charged to the offensive line. Unfortunately, 6 of those were also charged to Ethan Posick, and 5 of them were charged to Joel Bitonio. Between those 3 were 17 of the 18 pressures that were charged to the quarterback. You get your left tackle back, whoever that is. Jack Conklin, Jed Wills, that gets better. That Hudson. I'm not sure where you go with this man at quarterback. I saw a guy that was just, I don't think he wanted to be there. It was from the rip. Didn't look like he was comfortable. Wanted to play football. I can't speak to what's going on in someone's head because I just don't know. I don't know the guy. I can't talk to the guy. I don't know. But if you trot that guy out the rest of this year, go ahead and phone it in. That's my opening statement. We'll dive into it a little bit here in a minute.
Okay. For round the discussion, we have to have the whole discussion.
Yes.
Now, my bar for the offense was low. I said it weeks ago. When I came in, it's been a scale. The defense, my expectations went up. The offense, it's went low. I expected that to be a low-scoring game. I didn't expect one first down in the first half. That's anemic.
It was on the first drive too, right?
Yeah, well, he snuck one past what should have been a pick six, past Kalen Carson to Amari. Snuck that by an ear hole. Yeah, that's where your first down came from in the first half.
Ball looked like it was in molasses.
Yeah. I don't want to get too caught up in the Watson shit, though. He wasn't good. He sucked. You can't win with that level of quarterback. Nothing was good. I can't live in a world where if you would have played DTR, it goes any better. The game plan was dog shit. The offensive line was dog shit. And on the rare occasions he would actually hit a receiver, they dropped it. Like it was the sloppiest operation I've seen since Stefanski's been in Cleveland. And I can't put that all on 4. I wish I could. I wish I could point to one person and be like, if you just get rid of this, it's all good. Dog, it was how many pre-snap penalties? Like it was just sloppy as shit from the jump street. And then on top of that, you got a guy back there who got skittish. I don't think he started the game skittish. I think the game plan it sucked from jump street. But he gets back there, and then after he starts getting hit, his demeanor changed. He wouldn't keep his eyes up. The rush would come in and he would just cower. You know what I mean? He put his head down and just look for routes to not get murdered, but he wasn't looking to make plays. You know, and then it got so bad that, you know, we're talking about a 4th down play where he didn't even throw it, he just takes the sack. Like instead of don't get me wrong, Tillman was not looking. Tillman, that's who we need. But still, you got to throw it. There's a 0% chance you get a first down if you hold on to that ball and just eat a sack. Like low football IQ. Here's the bitch of it. The only thing that he proved on Sunday is that he's tough as shit. That's great if you're a linebacker. I need my quarterback to be smart. I'll take smart over tough. Be smart. He wasn't smart. He wasn't finding answers. There wasn't a ton provided for him early in that game. But as it came on, if you watch the film, there's a ton of meat left on the bone later. Mm-hmm. Like if you look middle of the second quarter on, they started scheming things and finding answers for him that he's not seeing them, man. And at that point, you know, how many of those deep balls did he throw? Where like at that point you're down. At least give your receiver a shot. You're so scared of turning the ball over, you're not even willing to give your receiver a shot. Instead, you're throwing it literally 6 rows deep. You know, so the scary part is you had all offseason to devise this game plan for your quarterback, who you rearranged your whole coaching staff to get this kid up to snuff. And that's the product you put on the field. That product that we watched on Sunday, that is the most expensive offense in the NFL. And that's not just Ford's fault. Like there is money invested in the line, money invested in a receiver, like tied in, and like that's the product you put on the field. And the fans were booing.
Yep.
And if you paid to see that, you deserve to boo. If you paid money to sit in the stadium that day, you deserve to boo.
You're booing your own team and yes, because they fucking sucked.
Well,
you don't want booed? Don't fucking suck.
Well, let's address the elephant in the room. Here's where the anger comes from. What we have already seen. The anger comes from seeing a dude jump off the couch, lead the league in passing, lead the league in touchdown passes, lead the league in explosive plays, with offensive tackle 5 and 6, with no prep time, with being a quarterback that nobody wanted and was on the scrap heap that the Browns just picked up and just put together this magnificent passing offense that we've never really seen in Cleveland, right? And lead them to the playoffs and just do so with every reason not to, right? And you look at what happened on the field and you say they changed the coaching staff. They added talent. They have adjusted the scheme. They've tried to build and make this as conducive to a successful environment for the quarterback as possible. And I understand there's more things to it than just the quarterback. I get that. But the problem is we have seen a quarterback succeed here with every reason not to. And we see this quarterback who has, I believe, yet to pass for 300 yards in a Browns uniform.
Facts.
Just find every possible, like, just look like there's not even if another month went by, would you have been ready? Because you had the whole offseason and it could not have looked worse. It could not have looked worse. And I fully acknowledge there's a piece to this where it's like Deshaun had some loss. He lost his dad. He lost a friend. And I can totally empathize with that. If that's something, if that's where his head was at, then you got to tell the team and you got to step away, right? This is there can be no excuses at this point. They paid you $236 million. They fully guaranteed your contract. They incentivized you to come here. They've done everything to help you be successful that they could do. I mean, you should be sending Daniel Jones flowers and a thank you card because he is maybe Bryce Young. Like the territory that Deshaun ended up in at the end of Sunday was Bryce Young, Daniel Jones, Deshaun Watson. You were the laughing stock in the butt of every joke by the time the damn NFL game slate was done on Sunday, and it's embarrassing. It's like you said, it is the most expensive offense in football. You have the coach of the year, you have the defensive player of the year, the assistant coach of the year, all this stuff, and you just go and lay the biggest egg imaginable.
There's this, the offensive line wasn't good as a pass protecting unit. We can all admit that. I think they were okay as a run blocking unit. I still don't understand how Dante Foreman didn't get a single touch in this game, and that's a whole lot. That's a whole different conversation. But the thing that I come back to, people want to talk about the offensive line being bad. It was bad. 22 pressures were charged to Deshaun Watson. 22. Everybody wants to talk about all this pressure that he had. And he did. He had a ton of pressure. They allowed a ton of pressure. He welcomed most of it. And right now, he's not reading and diagnosing the field well enough to react to the pressure that he's inviting. That's what he used to do. He's always been that guy. He's always been a pressure producer because he holds onto the football and he can create when there's chaos. Well, right now he's not creating when there's chaos because he's not able to see the field in front of him. There were some issues that I had in 2021 with Baker Mayfield that I didn't think Baker Mayfield was seeing the field. And a lot of people talk about the mental effect of the injury that he had, and I'm with you. I understand that sort of thing. But that was the issue I was having there, where it was like Baker had these players that were open, and he wasn't seeing them or he wasn't giving them a chance. That fourth down that he takes that sack with Tillman in front of him is almost as bad as when Baker tried to high step with a wide open Demetric Felton right in front of him. We destroyed Baker for that. It comes back around. That play was worse because at least Baker got some yards on that. Like Baker got some yards on, like I know he didn't get close to the first down, but like there was absolutely 0% chance that Watson was picking up the first down with his legs in that situation. that down and distance, how it played out, he was not picking it up. He could have, like you said, I understand Tillman's not, float it up. Maybe Tillman turns around and sees it at the last second and he catches it. There's a higher % chance that happens than you pick it up. It wasn't third down. You can't take that hit there. It's not third down. It's over when you do that. And it's like, the things that get me was he creates these pressures. He's got these 22 pressures that he created. And you say, well, you know, maybe it's because he held onto the ball a little long, but maybe it's because he got gun shy early. And I think there's some merit to that because early he did get smacked in the mouth pretty early. And although in his time in Cleveland, that's when he plays well.
I thought he was hurt on the touchdown drive because he played so well.
Yeah, that's what
I really did. I was like, did he hurt his shoulder again? He's doing great.
Like, oh shit, now he's about to be out for the rest of the year. We'll find out on Wednesday.
You know, that's how it works. No.
Well, it's not Wednesday yet. It's still could come.
Well, Dallas just quit playing defense. Literally, they started the bus. They started chewing clock. And then it's like,
They didn't need to do anything. They knew. They knew they could just coast to victory.
He doesn't trust his eyes right now. And that's that was my issue with Baker the last year he was here. That was why I wanted to move on was talent be damned. He couldn't see the field. Well, Watson can't see the field. Like, I mean, there's a point in which, and I know screenshots are misleading, but Amari Cooper works back right in front of him.
Yeah.
Is so wide open. I don't care if it was a good pass. Like, it was that wide open. And it's just, there's a play, Casey, you and I talked about this. I think it was a third down. He drops back, hits the back of his drop. He's looking like this. As soon as he hits that drop, his eyes go down and he runs straight into the defensive line.
Yep. Straight
into them. There was no lanes. It's not that he bailed out of the pocket to the right. It's not that there was a small gap right there that he was trying. There was nowhere to go except into the arms of the guy that was going to put you down and effectively in that drive. And that summed it up for me. Yes, you can't drop that many passes. That David Njoku should still be running.
Right.
Like, he should still be running.
And it was still early enough in the game that kind of gives you momentum and, you know.
And maybe it gives him confidence and that helps him carry it and play better. I don't know.
Well, everything you're saying brings us back to the issue. Like, you don't go give everything you gave for this guy and give him the contract you gave. You do that because you think you're literally getting someone who has top 5 ability. That's the only reason you move heaven and earth, 3 picks, everything that goes with it, the contract guarantees you. You don't do that unless you're getting that in return. Yeah. And this, no matter what you feel, I don't care if you support or you, no matter what, we have to admit one thing: his ceiling is significantly lower, and his floors, even, you know what I mean, it's out the bottom. Like, he can play, like Nick said, bottom 3 quarterback in the league. He's playing to that level, but the ceiling's probably 15 to 12 now at best, at his very best. And you moved on from Baker Mayfield because you didn't want to have a guy that you had to have everything right around to succeed. And right now you have a guy who needs absolutely everything perfect around him to succeed. So you basically not at all, but not everything's right around it. Let's be honest. Not everything's right around. And we talked about that 4th down play. Well, you also ran it on 3rd and 6. It was gross mismanagement all over the place. But no matter what, he can't do what he can't be the guy you need him to be. So if you need him to be the guy that pulls everybody else up by the bootstraps and elevates everyone else's play, which is what a top 5 guy does, that's gone. That's not even in the options anymore. In my mind, that's years. Like, we're not going to see that. He's not going to be that guy ever again in the NFL. And so you're in a fucked up position because he's until something happens, and I don't want to speculate on some of the things that are going on the outside right now, but until something happens, he's under contract. He's going to be here. How long's the leash? You got a guy right now behind him who will give you way more than what we've seen out of him last weekend.
Yeah,
like, undeniably. You put Jameis Winston in, he's pushing that ball. He's one. And it's regression for me because we could talk about the shoulder, whatever. Last year, he was seeing the field. He was just passing up easy opportunities to try to make bigger plays, and they weren't there. He's not even seeing the field now. So that's regression. Like, it's not – there's issues, man. There's issues. And here's the bitch, and people are going to get on me, and I don't give a shit. I'm more disappointed in the coaching staff than him because my expectations were low of him. I expect more out of them. The quarterback whispered, Dorsey, how did you get to this point? Like, you saw what you saw in practice, and you thought this was the game plan to roll with, and clearly he couldn't handle it. Clearly. You know what I mean? It's gross mismanagement, man, all around. And it just sucks because, like, I've went back and I've watched the defensive tape several times now. They're not that far off. Like, they're going to be okay, man. The defense is going to be okay. There was some miscommunication. There's, the inability to guard a jet sweep. There's some things. But those are fixable. I look at that side of the ball and I think you're going to be fine. But you're going to have to be so much more than fine to like pull this thing up and carry the water for this team. And I don't know. The last thing I'm going to say about Watson is, how long is that leash?
Yeah.
Because we really have to consider this now. You didn't sign Jameis Winston for nothing.
I'll let Nick say his piece because I know he has something to say, but I have a thought on that.
Well,
after he's done.
That's the road I was going down, okay? Because you both have already mentioned how much is invested in this team and in this season. So to me, if you go out and stink it up against Jacksonville, you're playing for your starting job against week 3. It's the Giants, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you're playing for your job week 3 against the Giants. That's my thought. I could not see this going on longer than a month if it looks like that, because they're not going to let this thing go down the tubes. They've invested too much. They're spending the most money in the sport. They have done everything to win right now. They're not going to let it go down the tubes. So to me, you've got 3 weeks tops.
The fry leash. We got to comment the fry leash. You mean when they started Charlie Fry that one game, benched him during the game, and traded him 2 days later to the Raiders, I assume is what you're referring to. That's wishful thinking because nobody's trading for that contract. But I get the concept that you're saying.
Like, I just want to summarize. I've heard some people say they're going to give him the whole season. I don't think so. I think that they will absolutely do everything they can to not let the season go down the tubes.
I don't see it. I'm a conspiracy theorist. So I love being a conspiracy theorist when it comes to sports because you can like believe so many crazy shit. So much crazy shit. Here's something that I think is interesting. Do you remember, especially when this first happened, there was a lot of buzz and a lot of talk on social media about how this was all Jimmy Haslam, right? Like, oh, this was Jimmy Haslam. Andrew Berry didn't want to do this. Kevin Stefanski didn't want to do it. Jimmy Haslam forced it. The one thing about that I think about in this situation is Jimmy Haslam can't be sitting there right now saying, I'm spending all this money and it's okay to do this. You get what I'm saying? Like, you can't be sitting there and be like, I'm spending all this money, because he certainly feels like he's like, it certainly feels like he's the kind of guy that's like, I don't care if this is a failed investment. I don't want to. Yeah, there you go. I don't care if this is a failed investment. You've cut players already. I'm not saying they're going to cut them, but my point is, like, I just feel like that's going to hang over there. That if they run him out there again this week, and it looks like, I don't even care if they win. If they go out there and win and he looks bad. Because, Jacksonville's an interesting team because I think they're good, but I also don't know if they're good because last year was so weird from them. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just kind of like not 100% sure on where they are, but they're not a bad football team. They're not a bottom 10 football team. You know,
they're not
whatever.
devoid of talent. I'll tell you, they're not devoid of talent. They have an NFL caliber roster.
You're going to have to play well. Now, could you lean on your defense and win? Yeah, I mean they lost their week 1 game to a team that scored 20 points. So that's not exactly an offensive explosion to be able to win that game against Jacksonville. But he goes out there and he looks like that. He throws for 168 yards or whatever stupid shit it was. They invested a lot in Jameis Winston. And I think a lot of that had to do with injuries. But you can't sit here and tell me with a straight face they didn't plan to potentially have a fallback if this happened.
I don't think it was for this. I think it was for injury. I think they didn't think they could trust his injury and they would have to go to someone else.
But do you think that they didn't at least consider this?
No, I'm not saying they didn't consider, but I'm saying the reason you go get Jameis, because think about the position you were in last year when he gets hurt, and then after only playing 12 games in 2 seasons or 4 seasons, really, you extrapolate, but I think that they had to have the insurance. They had to figure it out. So you go get Jameis, high level guy. He's had some things happen in his background. But as a teammate, his integrity's high. You can tell he's a likable guy in the locker room. Great glue guy. Perfect guy for this situation. And he'll be ready. I know that. You don't have to ask James to get ready. He's already ready. So in my mind, though, it was more injury. They didn't plan on him shitting the bed this bad. There's no way.
Well, there's no way they planned on it being this bad. You're right. Maybe I'm getting a little bit emotional in that sense.
They probably had more faith in themselves that it wouldn't be this bad. You know what I'm saying? More even than him. Like that they would be able to provide enough that he would be adequate. What he's been. You know what I mean? Like they probably think he was going to be worse than what he's been is what I'm getting at. Yeah, he's not he's been good, but he's been mid at best. At best he's been mid.
We called for him for a mid quarterback last year. I mean, that's what we were calling for all year after he gets hurt. We're like, give us someone that's league average.
I wanted Jacoby. I wanted Jacoby back.
We all did.
We'll win with that. We'll win with that.
We're like, hey, he'll win. We'll we talked about Taylor Heineke. There was a long Taylor Heineke discussion on this podcast.
Yes, we sure did.
I don't know, man. I can't imagine anybody in that organization will let this go on for a long time.
Look, I think the most telling thing to me is they were panning to some of the guys, and that is easily the worst body language I've ever seen from Amari Cooper in a Browns uniform.
It was bad, dude.
I've never seen him look like that, and you could just see that they knew it was cooked, and at some point, thankfully, Dallas just let off the gas and said, "We're not putting anything else on tape," because if they had wanted to, it could have been one of those games where they put up
40-3,
whatever, whatever they wanted it to be, right? Like that was the only saving grace, and I just don't think that, especially coming from where they did. I just don't. I have a very strong belief that the owner, who has put so much into this, will refuse to let it just be a complete, because that's what it was, right? Like I can't. Every outlet, whether it was Bleacher Report or Barstool or ESPN or whatever, right? It's like not only are they talking about how bad Deshaun was, but then on the other side of it, they're putting Baker's stuff next to it. So I get it, but it's just extra salt in the wound. It's extra ammunition. It just
don't let it. You can't let it be because they are ignoring that he's been on 2 teams since he left Cleveland.
I know.
So they're acting like it's just us.
I know. Of course they are.
Dude, he went to Los Angeles, and Sean McVay didn't see that in him.
I know.
So I can't. They can show back. I'm happy for Baker, man. And I don't look at it on the slide on us. Like he wasn't going to be that guy without being humbled.
I agree.
That's what happened to him. But I do agree it is to stick the knife in, but you can't let it get to you, man. Don't let the national people get to you, dude. They're ignorant. No one can successfully cover all 32 teams and understand all the nuances and stuff. But the public meetings never go out of style. You know what I mean? Like, that at any drop, and I don't give a shit what game we're watching, we're 3 bad plays away from them showing the jersey. You know what I mean? It's just.
Yep. Oh,
I get so tired.
They did show the jersey on the broadcast.
That's what I'm saying. It's always, but that's not. We can't let that get us down. We can't do it, man.
Here's the thing. The last thing I kind of will on this side. I just don't know where any of that stuff that you look at it, you're like, hey, we got Micah Parsons. I would have thrown a tight end screen right at Micah Parsons on the first play, right behind him. Have David Njoku chip him, we didn't see any. They ran a screen at the end of the first half or something like that, like when the half was over, and that was like the first. It's like, y'all are better than this. Like, because I've seen it. I've seen a lot better coaching. I've seen a lot better play calling. I've seen a lot better execution on the easy things. I'm with you, Casey. He's not even seeing layups anymore. He was just ignoring them before.
Yes.
He was ignoring them, playing hero ball, and trying to be the guy that they gave all that money to and traded all those draft picks to. And I get it, because if I was in that situation, I probably would feel a little bit of that too. But what really frustrated me was all offseason they talked about it. Watson even talked about it. Letting David Njoku, letting his playmakers get the ball in their hands and do something after the catch. And then he didn't do fucking any of it. And neither did the coaching staff. And like you said, they did get better towards the end where they were trying to give him some layups, and he hit a few of them here and there. That throw to Jerry Jeudy for the touchdown, that was a nice throw.
Yeah. He made like 4 nice throws. There was one on another out route. Like the one to Njoku, that's the one he dropped. You know what I mean? But
that was a play.
It's not enough for me to forgive everything that I like. You gave me 4 good throws out of 40. What? How many attempts did my guy get?
What is it? So it's like 10% of his throws were good or something. Like something like that.
No, that can't be the move.
And you invited 22 pressures. I saw somewhere, I know PFF didn't charge any sacks to the offensive line, but I have seen other people say that 1 sack was on the offensive line, and that the others were really on him. And I'm just thinking, like, this roster is way too good to look like that. And I don't know how you justify for any reason running that back out there. I'm not going to say bench Watson right now because I understand the optics of it. But how long before he gets hurt? And I say that in air quotes. I'm serious. How long before this guy is like
Indianapolis?
Yeah. Well, I think he was hurt against Indianapolis.
But you know what I'm saying?
He ended up being actually hurt. I'm saying, is there a point in which he says he's hurt and they just shut him down? Like, is that the move that ultimately happens? And so that way they have time to try to figure all of this out?
Well, and I think there's a couple other pieces. I know we're spending all this time on the quarterback, but I need to address this. Okay.
Yeah, move past it.
Ken Dorsey said, like, Deshaun Watson's looked amazing. We're going to see all these great things from him. He's like fully throwing his support behind him. I think it was his quarterback coach, Quincy Avery, who talked about his velocity might be the best velocity, the greatest velocity he's ever had. Okay. And so then he goes out there, and we've already mentioned that pass that very easily could have been pick sixth. It took
right out the gate.
Right. And so basically until like 5 minutes left in the second quarter, Deshaun's throwing everything short of the sticks. And then Dallas figures it out, right? They're like, this dude has no confidence in his deep ball whatsoever. So they start squeezing down and basically forcing him to try to take some of these shots. And once he starts throwing down the field, like his deep ball is like, I remember when Jacob and I were just doing this show and we were going to camp, and we were like early on in this whole process, we were like, hey, there's a lot of things we've seen from Deshaun in camp that we like. This is a couple years ago, but his deep ball is kind of shaky. And that is by far the worst. like I get it. You're coming off shoulder surgery, but you guys all put on this front like you were okay. You've got velocity. You're doing all these great things in camp. Da 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 da. And you could see immediately that what I did not see a quarterback throw the deep ball worse this weekend. And I had red zone going. In addition, I did not see a quarterback throw. Did either of you like what? I think that's the most concerning part to me is we're looking at a quarterback that to me everything is 10 yards and in essentially. At this point.
Here's what you said his name, so I got to say it. If Ken Dorsey is the quarterback whisperer that everyone claims that he is, prove it. Get this dude. If he gets this cat to be a top 10 quarterback, Ken Dorsey will be the fastest coach hired. Like we've heard, that's all we've heard. He's an elite quarterback coach. They always point to Newton and Allen. If Ken Dorsey's able to like shine this shit up and get something playable out of Deshaun Watson, after what we just saw, like my guy will be a head coach hella fast.
Yeah, me and you had that conversation earlier this afternoon. I was like, is there a fast track to all the money? Because right there it is. Like,
but let's talk a little bit about the offense that isn't Watson.
Yeah.
And so when we were talking about Watson playing in the preseason, I said I didn't give a shit about whether he plays to play. I need the operation from Dorsey to Stefanski to Watson. That needs to happen so that they kind of get their protocols in order so the procedures are good on the field. We were getting to the line of scrimmage and hiking the ball with 4 seconds on the clock consistently. You ran zero motion. Like they had the least motion in the entire NFL. Well, to run motion, you have to get to the line of scrimmage with time to run said motion. Yeah. When I was doing my defensive breakdown of the game, watching the Cowboys do it almost every play, just to indicate man when they couldn't tell. Now, a lot of times you can tell when the Browns are in man because they're aggressive, because their corners will get down and try to mug you. And you got single high and Thornhill, pretty good indicator. But they would run motion, even just to be an identifier. The Browns aren't even doing that. They don't have the time. Operationally, they weren't good enough to even run motion. Like, I'm so frustrated that you change this whole offense to placate to this one guy, and you didn't have it anywhere near ready for game one. That's so goddamn frustrating. It
was so clunky. Like the penalties, I'm not totally I'm not like the one on Hudson, the illegal man downfield, still fascinates me that he had enough time to be far enough downfield for that, because I felt like Watson threw that ball like right away in my opinion. But I think everybody's being hit with those illegal motions with the tackles lining up too far back. So I'm not gonna be furious about that. I mean, you obviously want to clean that up, but how many times did they hit the Ravens with that on opening night? 6 times or some just asinine number.
It'll be the next 2 or 3 weeks too, because it's a point of emphasis.
Yeah.
So anytime the league says those words, they're going to try to officiate it out of the game at the very beginning of the season.
Which I get it, because there are guys, Jawan Taylor, I'm looking at you.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That dude is that dude was lining up 6 steps off the line of scrimmage, and he still was struggling to pass protect. But anyway, I digress.
We've got some fun stuff going on here in the comments.
Yeah. But anyway,
I just want to ask from a schematic perspective, okay, I get it. Dorsey's supposed to have his influence, and Watson talked about this hybrid of calling plays, and I get it's 1 week, but is this just square peg round hole? I don't know. I don't know.
If you changed your entire coaching staff up, and it is, that's more of an indictment of everybody. That's you hired, you placated. And if you put a system together that isn't for him, that's malpractice. That's organizational malpractice.
I will say the formations where they were trying to operate, that did look more like what they did in Houston with him. Like, that was obvious. That was obvious that they have made these changes and they were trying to, you know, enact a similar offense to what he was doing. See, I still don't know if I fully buy the whole preseason thing because, like, Dallas didn't play in the preseason.
Nope. They didn't have guys in camp. CD wasn't even in camp. He looked great.
Yeah. Funny how that works.
He's phenomenal.
I just think installing a whole new offense, although I guess the Cowboys got rid of Kellen Moore, right? He was in Dallas last year.
No, he was in LA last year.
Okay, sorry.
Brian Schottenheimer was the OC, but it's almost similar to Van Pelt scenario because you're the OC, McCarthy's calling plays.
Okay.
Ever since Moore left, McCarthy's the play caller.
Well, they clearly, I don't think there is any way around the fact that they needed more prep time. They needed to do more to prep than whatever it is the hell they did this offseason. And that's on the coaching staff. That's not on the players. So I'm not trying to just blame Deshaun. I'm not trying to just blame him because there's a lot more here.
No, he was terrible. Like there's no
sugar. He was terrible. I mean,
but there was plenty of suck to go around on the offensive side of the ball, man. That's just disheartening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You wait all year for this thing, and like I said, my expectations were low, and you went so far below the bar that it was mind blowing to me. Like we talked. Okay, so when I was charting the defense, Cowboys had 8 offensive possessions. 2 ended in touchdowns, 2 ended in field goals, 2 3-and-outs, and 1 other punt, and then 1 other things ended in half. The Browns had 7 offensive possessions, right? 5 3-and-outs. 5 of the 7. The other one ended in a field goal. One is an interception, one was a field goal. 5 for 3-and-out out of 7. So. Because if you look, it's so misleading stats. Because I've seen people posting, he's like, "How are you going to say the defense is on the field too much?" You know, the Browns had more possession time than the Cowboys by the end of the game. Well, let me go to the notes here. In the first half, out of 30 minutes, the Cowboys were on the field for 19 minutes and 56 seconds of 30.
Okay, that's.
You can't do that. You can't offensively. You 5 3-and-outs out of 7 drives. That is as poor as you can start without throwing a pick 6, which he tried to do.
Just on another
when he missed that, and when he missed that pick and he caught it.
I thought he did. I thought he picked it. I thought it was.
I
also flickered. I was like, oh.
And yeah, I took the loudest exhale of all time. I was like. I was like, oh my God, like we're doing this. It just felt like Pittsburgh last year all over again, where you know it hits off the hands of Harrison Bryant, it's picked, it's all of a sudden 7-0. And you know what he did? He did the same fucking thing that he did against Baltimore and threw right at a blitzing unblocked Micah Parsons. He did that to Kyle Hamilton. Kyle Hamilton took it to the house last year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, stop throwing it at a free guy. Like, he's right there. You know he's going to jump. He's one of the most athletic people we've ever seen. And you're like, fuck it.
But also, why is that the play? Why is it designed to leave Micah Parsons unblocked to make a play? And then you're counting on your guy to do what? Who hasn't done anything? So you're counting on this guy to like avoid Micah Parsons and change his arm angle or like I don't know what he's shown you to believe that that's going to be the outcome. You saw the Kyle Hamilton play. Throw that play away, man. Stop leaving studs unblocked for your quarterback to make the play who can't do it.
Who can't make it.
He's shown us he can't do it.
Something I need to say, because this show, everyone on this show was on the same page about the lack of addressing of the tight end position this offseason, and now fucking David Njoku's out for who knows how long, and you've got Jordan Akins and maybe Jeff Swaim. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, Jesus Christ, guys. Like, you could not – and I saw a stat. So ESPN has started tracking these, like, open scores, whatever, and it was Dave Kluge, who does a lot of fantasy stuff. David Njoku had the highest open score of any offensive receiver of week 1, the highest. And of course, he's got to get injured. And I mean, I just it's like we knew. We were like, well, if David Njoku gets hurt, we're in trouble. And here we are. It's fucking week 1, and David Njoku's hurt, and the dreaded high ankle sprain, right? That could linger all year. We've seen that happen. I'm not trying to be negative. It's just very frustrating when there's such a glaring, obvious hole that they did nothing to do anything about. And now we're just bringing free agent scrap heap, whoever, to address that position. That's great.
Yeah. So on this show, I know I said this exact sentence, and I was thinking about looking for it. I was like, the plan at tight end can't be for David Njoku to not get hurt. And then I was like, what if he gets a high ankle sprain and he's out for 4 weeks? You can't run 11 personnel. You can't do it. I'll say this: Akins blocked better than I thought he would. He was actually more willing than I thought he was going to be. But I don't like your look, man. This coming week, because we were all the edges you faced were pretty formidable. I would say that in Dallas. It doesn't get easier, man. Josh Hines Allen and Trevon Walker and Eric Armstead are going to be waiting for you in Jacksonville. You're going to need your tight end to stay in and block. I don't like Akins in any of these opportunities.
I like Latu.
Huh?
I like Cameron Latu in that situation, though. Did I say his name right?
Yeah, you said his name right, but did anyone listening out there, did that name give you any confidence? Did that
He's
name
a great blocker. I didn't say he was a great tight end, but he can block.
No, that I'm saying though, like you can't run 11 personnel with a guy who can't be a threat to go out and catch a pass either.
Well,
you know
that's
what I'm saying. So like they completely shit the bed on tight end. Like Nick's 100% right. You had to go get someone else, just a veteran free agent, who's a mid-level guy that you would have. You know, like how would you feel CJ Uzoma right now? You feel better. You'd feel better than saying Cameron Latu. Like, you know what I mean? Like Jeff Swaim. Like,
my bad for trying to be optimistic. Damn.
Read the room, Jacob. This is not the optimistic show tonight.
We could see this a mile away, right? And it's just like, here we are, and of course it's week 1. It's just very frustrating when it's like the one like true glaring hole.
More.
Like
week 1 will always hurt more.
Yeah, because it's all the build up. This felt like 2019 to me. That's what this game reminded. All my hopes and dreams were elevated, and then it just kicked in the nuts.
Right.
At least I wasn't at this game like that one. But all right, so let's pivot real quick.
Okay.
Just say, for sake of argument, you get Conklin back.
Okay.
How tempted are you to run jumbo personnel with DeWan as the oversize?
I will give Hudson credit. Even on the left side, he wasn't bad as a run blocker.
Yeah. He's good going forward.
Oh, yeah. He's great going forward, especially on the right side. Because on the right side, I think he's an elite run blocker. I really do. I think he can be I shouldn't say he is. I think he has spikes of elite play as a run blocker when he's on the right side.
He's a mauler.
Yeah. I mean, he fits really well next to Wyatt Teller. And to run behind the two of them if he's on the right side, am I tempted to play jumbo personnel? I would have to know the tendencies of Jacksonville, just like what their defense is made of. But would I? Well, yeah, it can't be any worse than what they did last week.
You got to try something. And let's also talk about the fact the run game was completely unsuccessful, right? And it has been unsuccessful. What's that?
I think it was fine. They just didn't try it very much.
Okay. Well, every Kevin Stefanski team I've ever known, except after the offensive line got hurt last year, has been able to run the ball. They've got to run the ball more. You listen. Fine. If you're going to roll Watson out there and he clearly lacks confidence, like they're going to have to do stuff to build him up. And
they need to be creative in the run game.
And that starts with running the ball. You have to threaten teams running the ball. You have to. I think that has to be the foundation moving forward.
I will find somebody and I will slap the ever-loving fuck out of them if Dante Foreman doesn't touch the football this
year. Yeah, what the hell was that? Why?
Here's my beef with running the ball. when you have a quarterback who's as shaky right now as Watson is, throwing on first down is just shooting yourself in the foot. You can only throw on first down if you got a quarterback completing above 65% of his passes.
I was going to say above 55, but yeah.
Yeah, the running game has to be there on first down because this is a team that can't afford to be behind the sticks. Now, they were shooting themselves in the foot with the pre-snap penalties, and then you're 1st and 15, then I don't know what to tell you. Right now, 3rd and 8 is a death sentence. A death sentence.
And they averaged 3rd and 7.
Yeah, you can't. And they were constantly behind the sticks. You have to have run efficiency on first down, so you're giving yourself 2nd and 6, 2nd and 5s. Then you can operate 50-50. When this cat's back and you're in obvious passing downs, and the literally you watch the coverage, the Cowboys figured it out pretty quick. We'll drop coverage, rush you with 4, and make you find an answer. Until you find that answer, we're not changing this. And they didn't have to. You know what I mean? So running the ball is imperative, especially early on the downs. Get to 50-50. Give me 3rd and 4s. He could pick that shit up with his legs. Like, give me something manageable.
He did it a couple times.
They were constantly playing from a deficit because of their lack of success on first down. Mm-hmm. And then the penalties, which you got it. I don't have a choice. You can't be doing 7 procedural penalties before the ball's even snapped.
Right.
Like that's not how you win football games.
7 procedural. I knew the breakdown, but I forgot, I guess. 7 procedural. I knew it was bad. I guess I didn't realize it was 7.
Okay. So
checks out.
I haven't gotten to watch the all 22 like I'm assuming both of you guys had, but to my naked eye, it looked like Jerry Jeudy was getting open. Looks like Jerry Jeudy was
thought the wide receivers were fine other than the drops.
Okay.
I think they did there were some bad drops, but I thought they were fine. I don't know what Casey thought, but I mean they were open.
Yeah, I didn't like the plays that were being called early for them. But they got into a groove and they were creating separation. I will say I wasn't really happy with his separation. But Jeudy gets open. Jeudy scares the shit out of me though.
How so?
Because he gets hit and it looks like it hurts. He goes down hard a lot. Like I'm worried about soft tissue, get nicked. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Amari's Amari, man. Like I don't need to really get too far into that.
Yeah.
But Jeudy, from being a dynamic athlete and his ability to get open, ability to really, I think he really hurts teams on crossers. You see him streak across the field on crossers, and he gets separation. And it'd be easy if you can catch him on his upfield shoulder to let that man turn and just run. Obviously, that didn't happen. But yeah, there was something to be thankful for there. It's the drops is what really kills me with the receivers. They're not their ability to get open. They can get open.
I am very glad that the Browns did add to the wide receiver core because I don't know when David Njoku is going to be back. I don't imagine the tight end is going to be hugely involved in the receiving game. So it's probably like if you're going to be successful passing the ball, it's probably going to run through Cooper and Jeudy, and that's just going to be maybe Tillman. I'm not sure, but that's probably the duo that leads you to success there.
Running back too, man. You gotta lean on the easy shit. Get the easy shit. That's what you have to do right now.
I thought Akins was okay with 27.
He was okay.
Yeah, he was okay.
He's okay. I mean, it's the Nick Chubb thing. Like when you're the backup to Nick Chubb, we're going to get spoiled. So when we used to David Njoku, you're going to be disappointed that Akins is your tight end. That's not a slight to him.
Right.
It speaks more to what Njoku is.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got. It's
David,
probably a good spot.
Denzel Ward dropped 2 picks, right? He's around the ball. I mean, I do think the defense, like they picked Trevor Lawrence off 3 times last time they played.
4 turnovers. They got a fumble as well. 6 sacks, 8 tackles for loss against Jacksonville.
Denzel also celebrated a PBU down 20 in the fourth quarter.
And Greg Newsome joined in the dancing. That was
well, and Jeudy jumping in the crowd. There's a bunch of things that happened that I wish didn't happen.
So
just throw that shit out, man, and
let's talk for just a few seconds before we jump out of here about the defense.
Yeah.
Because believe when I tell you, if we're going to win some games in the early going of this season, it's going to be because of them.
Mm-hmm.
I still love the defensive line. I am not down on them at all, man. Dallas schemed up some things really nice. They caught us with one foot on the merry-go-wheel a couple times, and especially those end arounds, like they were just unfortunate. The first end around, so Delpit goes to Garrett's outside shoulder. Garrett actually kicks down inside right before the snap, and then Delpit's the edge defender all of a sudden, and he didn't have his eyes right, and he wasn't. It's just a really good time to call that play. Second time they do it, JOK goes on an inside blitz, and Wright just doesn't have contain. Just some really good plays. But overall, man, I really like what I saw out of some of the, this is probably one of my least favorite Emerson games, which I don't get to say. He's usually always stellar. Newsom played well. Denzel played well. Juan Thornhill was out there cracking. He was out there laying some hits. Delpit played most of the game. It was overhang linebacker.
JOK played 100%.
100% of the snaps.
Love that.
I charted the defense. They were in 3 safety and 3 corner pretty equal. 3 linebacker were pretty rare. But this defense has to be the unit. The one thing that worries me is the communication issues. The first touchdown to Cooks.
Yeah. Can we talk about that for a second?
Yeah,
because
I'm 100% prepared to talk about it.
Jim Schwartz promised us a change-up this year, and looking at what Dak Prescott did pre-snap felt exactly like, to me, what Matt Stafford did to the Browns defense last year. He saw exactly what they were doing. He checked in that play, and lo and behold, he just touchdowned it, right? And I get it. It was busted coverage. But I would just love – I think the defense has all the talents in the world. Just please create – we have watched the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers just create confusion that causes hesitation for so many years. And I would just love to see the Browns incorporate – any of that to just make Dak hesitate for half a second, and maybe that pressure gets there, Yeah,
he had his answer loaded up.
Yeah, Juan Thornhill's just had his eyes in the backfield, wouldn't pay no damn attention to where Brandon Cooks was.
I know.
No, that's not what happened. You don't want to know what happened. Watch all 22. One cornerback did not get the signal that it was zone. Should have dropped to the deep third. He did not do it, and it wasn't Greg Newsom. That's the hard part. So Juan Thorn signals to Delpit signals to Denzel. Newsom signals to Emerson. Emerson never saw it. Emerson chased Tolbert to the inside, didn't drop deep third. It's the TV angle. It's Thornhill, but the all 22 is 100%. Martin Emerson did not get the memo because Denzel drops his section.
Okay.
And it's hard to get mad at Martin. He's been a dog. But that's the thing. You said it. It's also are they ready for the change up? Because that's what that was. That was a side adjustment. That wasn't the call coming out of the huddle. There was an indicator in some of the formations, and Thornhill makes the call, and it's acknowledged by everyone else except for Emerson. So you have to streamline that. But that communication broke down multiple times. There's a third and short quarterback sneak by Dak Prescott where they didn't have the communication. You can see him freaking out on the field, and Delpit's not in the right spot. You know what I mean? And you could see the confusion. I saw it in other instances, especially coming from Newsom. I think he was concerned that they weren't on the same page a few times. So you have to clean that up. You can't, that's first and foremost. You're way too talented to allow something like that to happen. So, but that's the stuff you can coach. The stuff on the defense, I'm super encouraged because you can clean all that shit up, all of it. The stuff on the offense, I don't know if you have the personnel to execute.
Okay. Well, I'm going to hope that we see a dominant defense and that is the foundation that they build from, because, sometimes you're going to face these situations. And the Browns found a way to win in a lot of them last year. And that's the team I'm hoping that we see Sunday. And Jacob and I are going to be there in 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the next home game, man.
One home.
And we're gonna hope. Like the Browns have already matched their loss total at home from last year, which is kind of crazy to think about. So we're gonna hope they bounce back, they find a way, they rally. We've seen them rally before, so I'm gonna hope they do again. With that said, we're still giving away a Browns jersey at 1,000 subscribers. We'll love you. There have been 1,494 of you that I can see that have viewed this, which is crazy numbers and so many comments. We love you all. Thank you for the support. We promise we'll be here through thick and thin. Hopefully thin or thick. I don't know which one's good.
I don't know which one is good.
We'll
I really don't know which one's the good one.
We'll figure out which one that is. But the next time we see you, we will be back Friday?
I would assume.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll be back Friday for a Jacksonville preview. And
hopefully with a guest.
Hopefully with a guest and maybe with some positive injury report news, especially at offensive tackle. Maybe.
That'd be sweet.
Hopefully. That would be pretty sweet. With that said, this has been a Dallas Cowboys, Cleveland Browns. We're going to bounce back review of the Barking Browns show. Nick, that's Jacob. He's Casey. Go Browns.
Go Browns.